The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
Sunday. This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guys up, giddy up, welcome to First Stop Podcast Channel, the #1 show where police meet society and culture. Today's show is brought to you by boostbed.com/Wolfpack. Manscaped, baby, manscaped.com, promo code Wolfpack. Got a big show for you today. About a Black Lives Matter cousin. The co-founder of Black Lives Matter, Keenan Anderson, was tased and subsequently died afterwards, and we're going to break that down Big Bird of Cookie Monster style. But first, if you want to support today's show, all you got to do is go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download Podbean, your podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and review or whatever that platform allows you to do review-wise. It really, really helps us. We're back on the YouTubes. We're monetized again. It was a 2-week hiatus or a 1-week hiatus where YouTube had to review some stuff. But it looks like we're in the clear. We did nothing wrong. We weren't as offensive as somebody thought we were. So for all of you guys got that email back, we got a lot of people in the live chats, a lot of our paid subscribers. If you want to go the extra mile and be a paid subscriber, we encourage you to do so. It helps pay for equipment, helps pay for each one of these hosts that are doing the Lord's work out there. Lots of research, lots of time, lots of shows, lots of equipment. Is there any pressing news before we before we get into the Keenan Anderson arrest?
I got news for you. I'm Drew Breasy, by the way. I don't know what news you want, but I'm going to give it to you all in digestible form. First, we're going to talk about an Omaha police officer who had to shoot and kill a gunman at Target. There was an incident. This was last updated on February 2nd, so I'm not sure if it occurred on February 2nd. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because it was kind of buried in the news. I don't know if a bunch of people saw this or not. You certainly saw a bunch of articles about what we're going to talk about today, but I'm not sure that you saw a bunch of articles about this because it didn't turn out the way the news normally would like for it to turn out. But essentially what happened is this kid, we call him a kid. He's 32 years old. He walked into a Target in Omaha. He had an AR-15 style rifle, 13 loaded rifle magazines in his possessions. So he's armed to the teeth. No civilians were hurt in this incident. And why do you think that is, Eric?
It wasn't racially motivated, really.
No, it was not. Omaha police officers responded to that active shooter around 11:59 in the morning. So just imagine how crowded that Target is. He fired multiple shots inside the store, but nobody was killed except for him. And that was because
Hey, wait. This is supposed to be sensational news. If a guy doesn't kill anybody and he's stopped by police doing a great job, then that's not sensational news. Nobody cares about this, Drew.
That's true.
I want mass mayhem to make the news, and I want the cops to have fucked up really bad.
Yeah, I must say,
so what kind of news is this?
I was disappointed when I got to paragraph 9 or 10 where it says an Omaha police officer then fired their service handgun, striking and killing the suspect, law enforcement said. Fire personnel later declared him dead. So listen, the officer was identified, and I'm not trying to dox him. I'm trying to kind of pat him on the back.
There goes my hero.
His name is Brian Vanderheiden. He was a 20-year veteran, and he shot Jones. And this isn't to celebrate the death of this Jones character. This is to point out that a 20-year veteran rushed into a Target where a guy was loaded to the teeth, and he was one of 3 police officers in there. There was a report somewhere that officers were shot during this. I haven't found the rest of the story, which is another alarming factor in this story in and of itself. But way to go, Brian Vanderheiden. You probably saved 60 to 70 lives that day.
Yeah, why don't we celebrate the death of this guy? I mean, we have a cop. What is his name? Vandenham?
Vanderheiden, which in Tansey is Vanderham, yes.
I think we should celebrate. I mean, Vandenham, whatever the guy name is, Vandenberg, whatever his name is. He won, dude. He won, and he won big, man. He saved a whole bunch of lives.
Yeah,
he dropped a dirt bag.
Don't
Great
misunderstand
job.
me.
Let's go. Let's celebrate the whole fucking thing. Let's celebrate that the dirtbag is dead, and let's celebrate that he won.
Celebrate his heroism and celebrate his bravery and courage. I'm not celebrating anybody's death because it's a karma thing with me. But check this out. I mean, as the 32-year-old guy's uncle who got on TV to kind of express that, this is out of character for him. But what he's basically saying is, look, he was armed to the teeth. He went into the target. He didn't shoot anybody. Read between the lines here. Yeah, he probably wanted to die, and he made the cops do it. So, I'm not labeling him a criminal. I'm not labeling him I don't care about him. What I care about is that he didn't kill anybody, and there were brave police officers that went in there and saved the day on this one. So, yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. He should be celebrated. I'm just not going to dance over somebody's corpse.
Right. I like how Lumber Chef says, I don't cry over spilled milk. Spilled milk equals criminals dying. I love it. I mean, for me personally, when I die, if I die in a fit of bullets and rage or whatever, however my death comes, I want it to be celebrated.
I do. Well, I often dream of being shot down in a blaze of glory.
Oh, man, sometimes, dude, like I feel like if I get that like stage 4, terminal, I don't know, man. If God didn't put that, if it wasn't biblical, if it didn't say vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I feel like I feel like it would do a lot of good.
Not
in the eyes of the Lord, so I'm not going to do it.
Right. This is nothing I want to debate, but I get the point here. Reginald Rutherford said, "Can we celebrate the neutralization of a bad person?" And I do understand that point. I don't know the guy enough to call him a bad person, other than he walked into a target armed to the teeth.
It's like it's the guy in Vegas, right? Remember the dude that shot all those people in Vegas, man? Like, I have a hard time talking shit about that guy because nothing in that case adds up at all that he even fucking did it.
Nothing. Well,
like, it's really like, you remember the movie Shooter?
With Marky Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, does that not have like Marky Mark Shooter vibes all the way around? Like, dude, look at all of the evidence. It is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
No, I think you're mistaken because in Shooter, they were at the I-62 Music Festival. And in this thing, it was the I-65 Music Festival.
Oh, okay.
So it's got, they're completely different.
Totally different things. But I mean, that's a wackadoodle case, man. That's a conspiracy's like dream case.
I mean, do you believe the surveillance footage or the stills of the hotel that show him bringing a luggage rack full of, like, do you believe that those, in other words, could those be AI? Could those be doctored? I mean, I'm not trying to
know. Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah. So
but I mean, there's zero motive.
Right.
And they have been extremely hush-hush about the case. Extremely hush-hush about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because they don't want like follow-ons or something like that. But like, I don't know, dude. That's a strange case. And it happened at a very strange time. It happened at a time at the peak of them trying to get rid of AR-15s.
So, yeah, and like an MK Ultra kind of thing, and like a hypnosis. It could have been a Charles Manson. They put something in his acid and made him do it. But and then think about the fringe cases that begat, like the Daniel Shaver case, which was horrific, where the cops shot Daniel Shaver. But that all started because it was right after that incident. And then there he was, albeit a Motel 6 or whatever it was, with pointing his BB gun out the window at the pool or traffic. So obviously, in the frame of the officer's mind, they're thinking, man, we got another hotel. We got a copycat shooter here, which probably amped them up. And, one thing led to another. So,
if this was a shooter movie, right? If this was a shooter movie,
yes,
you would have told the guy, hey, man, you're in a bunch of gambling debt, but we've got these guns that if you take these guns and you take them to this hotel room, there's going to be a guy there to buy them. And we'll give you X cut, which will pay for some of that gambling debt. And he's like, cool. So he brings all the guns that he buys out in the desert from this rando, takes it up to his room. They come in, kill him, do the active shooter stuff, get out. Cops come in, boom.
Yeah, he's dead.
It was Kaiser Soze.
They see that he's dead. I have to ask, are you certain he bought these weapons in the desert? Because he probably, I'm thinking he probably did it down at the wharf or maybe in the abandoned warehouse.
Yeah, probably at the wharf. There's too many Ninja Turtles at the wharf, though. They've got that on lockdown. Batman also got the wharf on lockdown. You never want to go to the wharf after dark because you don't know when those night ninjas are going to get you.
How did the wharf fall so far out of favor as the location of the best?
If I'm going to commit a crime, I'm going to the wharf.
Yeah, well, you would think that we would just have a substation at the wharf,
right? Like, let's go.
That's where the narcotics division.
And you've got to have your newscaster. I mean, it was in Transformers, Ninja Turtles. I mean, all the movies, dude. It starts right there, and a news reporter's always there to film through the chain link fence.
Trish Takanawa.
Yeah. Well, anyway, any other news?
Yeah.
Aside from that unsensational cop that completely saves the day and nobody gives a shit about.
There's another story that's publicized, but it hasn't been updated in 19 hours. And we talked about it last night on ComStar with Drew Breasy and my first mate, JB, who was put into timeout because he does not know the proper order of succession of our United States presidency. But he apologized. But at any rate, there is one dead and one officer in the hospital following a library shooting in Memphis. To my knowledge, the update is that the officer is still in critical condition. Fortunately, he's still alive, but there is one man dead. The New York Times saw fit to make sure that we understood that all three participants were black. And it was just this odd thing that the Memphis police were called out to like a disturbance at a library. And then 30 minutes later, they found themselves back in there. And when one of the officers went to approach this guy who was in the library, he pulled out a gun and shot the officer. So his partner appropriately shot and, returned fire and killed him. Again, the headlines of that story are Memphis police who are reeling from the Tyree Nichols death now have to kill another one. Definitely not some guy evaded the metal detectors at a library and shot a cop and was shot in return. I didn't see that headline anywhere. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I was going through some of those headlines. This is the one story that the New York Times says, talks about a paralegal who was trapped in that library. And the only quote that they put of hers up is the police officer was standing with his foot on the guy's back and said, "I told you stop moving. If you move again, I'm going to pop you again." Miss King, 54, recalled after she returned home, still shaken by the experience.
Anyone would be, but I mean, you're right. Like
you just shot my friend. Of course, if you move, I'm going to fucking pop you again, dude.
Right. Plus, but the standing with his foot on his back or whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know that Derek Chauvin ruined it for everybody, but that is an age-old technique that works fucking 100% of the time. I had a gentleman spit on me, slammed him on the ground, and I put my foot on his cheek, on his face, in the middle of the entire it was a flea market, and people were cheering me on. They were like, "That nasty motherfucker spit on you, man. Fuck that." Like everybody was on my side. This was before everybody was like anti-police. They were actually pro-police, anti-criminal. Now we flip-flopped. Now it's like, criminal does everything right, and the cop does everything wrong. But when I stood on that dude's face, guess what he stopped doing? Moving.
With you. Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't spit on me again.
Or anybody else around you.
That is a technique that works all the time. You don't have to kick them. You don't have to punch them. You literally just have to put enough pressure on that head for them to go, "Ow, stop."
And let's be realistic here too. Like,
cannot do that anymore, though. If you're a cop, you cannot do that anymore. Do not put your fucking foot on somebody's head. I'm telling you, don't do it. It works, but don't do it.
But what we're getting is the quote that they were looking for. So we don't even know what the paralegal told the reporter. We know that she said that part, and that's the part they chose to print.
Right.
Like, we don't know that the paralegal said, "Yeah, that guy was a fucking maniac. I thought he was going to kill all of us." And yeah, I mean, the officer was standing there with his foot on his back, and he was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're looking for.
Or what if this was the tone? He had his foot on his back, and he told him to quit moving, and the guy kept moving, and so he said, "I'm going to pop you again," and the guy kept moving, and he popped him again.
Exactly.
The news is like, "Yeah, we'll just make that sound how we want it to sound."
It's not the lament of like, I hate the mainstream media. They're a bunch of liars. I happen to think that, but I mean, like, this is what is causing all of this. Do people not understand that? Like, this is what's causing hatred for law enforcement, which is in turn causing people to resist arrest, which in turn is causing people to be shot, which in turn is making things less safe for the 99 percentile of taxpayers that just want to be protected, and for our own officers who are, in jeopardy. Like, this guy got shot. This officer got shot by a guy in a library. You don't expect that to happen, of course. And I mean, it's not what we signed up for, regardless of what people think. It's possible that it may happen.
I worked in a library when I was a young kid. I was one of those kids that put all the books back on the shelves and stuff like that. And I mean, bro, you gonna break quiet code in the library. Everybody knows that.
Right.
And shooting a gun in the library, completely off limits.
You are definitely familiar with Dewey Decimal.
With Dewey Decimal. Somebody said they woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. And that's probably because they're not sleeping on a ghost bed, because every day that you sleep on a ghost bed, it's the right side of the bed. If you didn't hear the news on our Instagram channel, Ghost Bed is back, baby, for season 3 of Failure to Stop. This season's called Failure to Stop 2.0, even though it's our 3rd season. But if you've noticed that we've got a lot of changes, we got 3D graphics, we've got cartoon illustrations, we've got intros thanks to underpaid producer and Jonathan Bates, Jonathan Bates is putting out some of the best content on our Instagram and social medias. We've got quality news updates coming from Deadleg Media, who is now our head research and development team. Fucking Andrea, she's Failure to Stop 2.0. She's showing more shoulder than ever, and so we couldn't be more pleased. But it all starts with Ghost Bed, because they're a signature sponsor. They've been with us since day one. No other bed company supports law enforcement and first responders more than Ghost Bed. Matter of fact, when all the other advertisers telling us to tone it back, Ghost Bed says, put the freaking pedal down, gas it up, juice it up. Dude, we got you. We're with you 110%. We stand with law enforcement. We understand that nobody hates bad cops more than good cops, and you guys were good cops. So right now, Ghost Bed is offering 35% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Gets that sleep that's so good. Listen, you're going to make the best decisions of your life after you've had a good night's sleep. Mentally, we talk about mental health so much. Mental wellness starts with a good night's sleep and a diet. Ghost Bed can't help you with a diet, but it can help you with a good night's sleep. Right now, they are offering 0% down, 0% financing. That's if you have Last Row Lopez, or if you have dispatcher credit. You can get 0% down, 0% financing. Adjustable base, get the cooling sheets, the cooling pillow. Listen, the cooling technology is where it's at. It's like the cool side of the pillow all night long. Absolutely love it. Go to ghostbed.com/Wolfpack and get you sleep that's so good it's scary. Ooh.
I wonder if like the marketing department at Ghost Bed was like, not only do we stand with law enforcement, and somebody was like, we lay with law enforcement.
Ooh,
we're a bed.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think that's what happened.
Pretty sure that's what happened. Anyway, I got a Manscaped ad read to do. We'll do that later. We're going to do that a little bit later today. Right now, it's all about Ghost Bed. I don't want the focus to be lost on Ghost Bed. Today, we're talking about Keenan Anderson. If you looked at the headlines to Keenan Anderson, he's the cousin of the Black Lives Matter co-founder. Some sites will say she was the founder. But more importantly, he was a highly respected Washington, D.C. school teacher. That's all you need to know. According to mainstream media, Keenan Anderson was nothing more than a well-respected DC school teacher. Because every article starts with that headline. And that he was tased to death by police officers. Lots to uncover here today. We're going to talk about tasers. But more importantly, we're going to talk about non-compliance and where it gets you, where it leaves you out in this world. We've always said that. I think if you comply with the police officer's commands, you do exactly what they're telling you, you probably have a 99% chance of not dying. If you notice anything about any of these cases, whether the killing was justified or not, it all starts with somebody that's just not doing the right thing, not obeying the law, and definitely not obeying commands. And here we have it, that this gentleman, he's the cousin of the co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement, who's worth millions of dollars, by the way. millions and millions of dollars. And I still have yet to see what the Black Lives Matter movement has done productively. Because Memphis still has like the number 9 highest like murder rate in the United States. San Francisco is still up there, like number 1 in property crime. LA crime through the roof. It's up 26%, 27% in Raleigh, North Carolina, which isn't that great big of a city. But I feel like if we've got a movement that's actually producing higher violent crime numbers, maybe we need to take a look at who's managing that. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
However, here we go. We're going to break down. And I think the only reason that this case is relevant at all is because it's the co-founder's cousin. I don't think anybody would have given 2 shits about this case had it not been. I don't think it would have made the media.
I don't know about that. You had the interesting video of a few LAPD officers standing over a black man and he died.
But they're all black. They're all black.
There were some that were.
The majority.
So hours later he died. So I mean,
and the toxicology report was pretty damning here.
Yeah. Well, no, because if you read the news reports, they say no. Cocaine can stay in your system for up to a couple days. That doesn't mean anything. So what you don't have to do in the media is tell the truth, because when you couple that, first of all, I was watching the video this morning and my stepdaughter came out. She was getting ready for school and she's like, "What's wrong with that guy?" And I was like, "He's on cocaine." I knew the toxicology report, but I also knew by his behavior. And she's like, "Well, how do you know that?" And I'm like, "I just know. Like, look at him. I mean, it's his delusions. He's just going 1,000 miles a minute. Like, he's either having some type of psychotic break or he's on coke. This is how people on coke act." Back to you.
Yeah. That's what I like. How do you know he's on cocaine? If he's acting like that without cocaine, we have other issues. Maybe he's possessed by Satan. Either way, I don't care. Put him down. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not doing this exorcist shit, dude.
Right.
I'm not doing it. Put him down. Put him out of their misery. I'm sure they were good at one time, but I've seen the movie Constantine. Doesn't matter where you came from. Once the devil gets inside of you, got to put him down. Call Arnold Schwarzenegger. End of Days, by the way. Great movie.
Hey, I do want to say this, like, compare and contrast. We're going to hopefully watch video. I think Eric has pulled the video of.
Yeah, we're going to watch the whole thing.
Okay, so compare and contrast this actual non-compliance kind of with what happened in Memphis. But the important thing, like, that I see, like, that's very glaring, and I'm just telling you this is something for you to watch out for, is the silence, right? So there's chaos in Memphis. There's silence in this. Like, there's one person giving commands. The only other chatter you hear is them talking to one another, and nobody is excited. And it's
right. Nobody's happy about beating this guy's ass.
Right. And yeah, that's true too. But nobody is, I mean, he's still yelling and doing what he can, but they're kind of not paying attention to what he's saying because he's not making sense anyway. Like, we'll see. I don't want to spoil it.
And also what you always got to keep in mind is that what your words say and what your actions do are totally different things.
1,000%. Yes.
Like, I can say, "Drew, stop jerking me off right now. This is inappropriate. Not why we're on the show." Drew, not why we're on the show. Drew, get your hands off. Drew, stop. No means no, Drew. But, like, Drew's not doing anything. He's not even in this room. So,
right.
You know, and you're going to hear a lot of that in this video. Just because you say something
off, but yeah,
huh?
Not jerking off, but yeah.
No, there's no jerking off in this video.
Definitely not.
Sorry for all you Tennessee cops out there who wanted to see that. Maybe Tennessee's had a bad month. I hate to kick them while they're down, but had a bad month.
Yeah,
a lot of
gangbangs
in Tennessee.
Let's not talk about kicking while we're down either.
Oh shit!
Just move on.
Can't say gangbang. Can't say kicking them while they're down. A lot of shit. A lot of bad stuff there. Tennessee needs to pull their shit together.
Yes,
they need some reform over in Tennessee for sure.
They apparently need some volunteers.
Yeah, who wants to be a cop in Tennessee?
Yeah, Andrea should fix all of it.
But you know what? That's how I met the guys from Breaking Benjamin. Jason Rao, the guitarist for Breaking Benjamin. I mean, that's why he's a fan of this show. Was he actually reached out to me because he came home from tour and people have taken residence up in his Nashville home.
Really?
Yeah. And this was, I don't know, probably a year ago. Maybe not that long, 10 months ago, something like that. And he was like, dude, I called the police, and the police were like, there's nothing we can do. He's like, what do you mean there's nothing we can do? And he's like, you have to evict them. You have to go to the eviction bar. He's like, what? No. I closed my house, locked it up, and sealed it so that I could go on tour for my job for 3 months. It's not abandoned. I didn't abandon my home.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you have to evict them. Like, they live here now. They had changed the locks and everything.
Oh my God.
It took him forever. He's back in it now, thank God. But
Could
it took
you
him a
imagine
hot
that
minute. I had to
nightmare?
help him. I was trying to call people and help him out. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Could you imagine? I told him, I said, dude, you want to pay for it, and I'll come down there and I'll get these motherfuckers out of your house.
This is called the Tansey eviction service.
I said, dude, I mean, yeah, the cops can't do it, but I'll go in there and I'll fucking pepper spray that entire house. I'll pepper bomb it. They won't want to be in there. And as soon as they get out, we'll lock the doors. Easy peasy. I got a couple of cans of OC. You can put that in the air conditioner vent. Clean that house out real fast.
The
And we'll take it
Tansey
back.
extermination service.
So Tennessee's got some problems, man. And that all started from the defund the police movement. That all started when everybody got headstrong on this whole hands up, don't shoot Ferguson thing. And crime continues to go up. Criminals get to be the good guys and the cops have been the bad guys. And I mean, it's descended into chaos at this moment, as well as some of the other big cities in America that have kind of fallen back to this. Here we go. Let's go ahead and play this beautiful bean footage. And you're going to see see a guy get tased. Now, he doesn't die from being tased. That's not what kills this guy. We're going to talk a lot about it. But the guy dies like 4 hours later from this. And not from this incident. We'll get into that too. So I don't know why we have to put out a disclaimer about somebody dying in this video, because the guy doesn't die because of anything in this video, except maybe the fact of his actions before the video.
Yeah, he actually doesn't die in the video.
No, he doesn't die at all in the video. But you're about to see some police video, so let me go ahead and give you a warning so we don't get our PP slapped again from YouTubies. Here we go.
Where are you at?
For our listeners, really fast, and not our watchers, what you have is a police officer on a motorcycle arriving to a Chevron gas station at a very busy intersection in Los Angeles. I don't know if there's a not busy intersection in Los Angeles, but there is a wild man running in the road. And he actually runs in front of the motorcycle. He runs beside it, and then he crosses in front of it. So right off of the bat, you're seeing a very erratic man trying to flag down a cop on a motorcycle. You have you can't understand, but there's a whole bunch of people on the street yelling and pointing at the guy that was just running, that flagged the cop down. Now this guy is still running.
Get on the street. Hey, stop right there. Get up against the wall.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Get up against the wall.
Please, sir, I didn't mean to.
Get up against the wall.
I didn't
Get
mean
up against the wall real quick.
Please.
Okay,
Please,
hold on
God.
a second.
Please,
Hold on
sir,
a
I didn't
second.
mean to, sir. Please.
Hold on,
Please.
okay?
I'm
Show
sorry.
me 156. Show me code 6 on a TC not involved.
Please.
Okay, I'd like to stop this really, really, really fast, because this is a police breakdown from police perspective. If I'm in internal affairs, which if I'm ever there, go ahead and put me out of my misery. But if I was, these are the things that I'd be looking for in this video. One, the officer does maintain control very well. The officer is not escalating the situation in any way, shape, or form. He's not revving up the engine of his motorcycle, which sounds like it's like a little V-twin, little scooter. It's embarrassing, actually. But he's not bram, bram, bram. He's simply edging the vehicle forward. He puts his hand out in a very calming way. It's not an iron fist. It's an open hand of kindness is what I like to call it. He speaks in a nice low tone. These are all good things. Now, what I see from the suspect is going through what's called fight or flight. We've talked about it before. Fight or flight. This guy doesn't know if he wants to run or if he wants to fight. or if he just wants to stay there. He doesn't know what he wants to do. The reason I know this is because he is looking at every single avenue of escape that he can. His head is on a swivel. He also stops and realizes and points at the people who are watching him, who are not on his side. So he's actually pointing out in his brain, with what I see, is that he's pointing out, okay, don't go that way. Don't go that way. Like, he's running these things through his mind. I've seen this 1,000 times. I've seen the way adrenaline works. And I've watched enough of these films that I can see exactly what he's doing. He's also looking over his shoulder, almost 180 degrees. And his face stops down open corridors. He's also looking at the traffic breaks. He's also looking at the stoplight a lot. He's looking up. So he's looking to see if those lights are green or red. This guy in his brain off of the bed is already looking to flee. He wants to run. He just doesn't really have an opportunity because there are witnesses everywhere. See anything else that I didn't catch?
No. He is initially compliant, but you're right. He's the officer, I'm sure, is taking note of everything that you just said. Like, this guy is going 10,000 miles a minute. The odd thing is this guy initially waved the officer down, just like you pointed out. When he turned the corner, everybody else said, that's the guy you need to stop right there. He ran from this accident. So that's what caused this interaction right here. And the guy's kind of like, at least he's got his hands up. He went down to his knees, but he's going 10,000 miles a minute. Like, you can tell. And in fact, when the officer finish his radio transmission? We're going to be at Venice, West and Lincoln. Not yet, but he even identifies the guy's likely intoxicated.
Also, I've said this on the show 1,000 times, the amount of theatrics or the amount of emotion, the higher the amount, the more likely there is a lie. If I see somebody that's over theatric with their hands, if they're moving their hands, if they're moving their body, if they're shipping away in force, I can already assume that they're lying. I don't know why that's a thing, but people who are over theatric, like if you pull a car over and the person puts their elbow all the way out of the window and leans all the way under the door, there's already something inside of the car. That's an over theatric way of doing things. Normal person would just put their elbow on the door or put both their hands on things. They wouldn't put their elbow all the way out of the door. It's over theatrics. Anytime somebody's over theatric, I guess I'm beating this dead horse here, but this guy's doing all of those things. He's got his hands out. He's, putting it on his chest over and over again. He's being very, very over dramatic, which can already off the bat tells me, whatever comes out of your mouth is about to be a lie. So let's keep going.
It's going to be Venice, west of Lincoln.
Oh my God.
Look at his eyes. Look where he's looking.
Can I get additional units, please?
Now he's looking up at the red light.
The car.
Okay, what happened?
I lost my key.
You lost your key?
Yes. I came and I had somebody fix my car for me, sir. Please,
Okay,
sir.
do me a favor. Sit in here.
please.
Hey,
Now he's trying to get
down
up and
on your
run.
butt and sit with your legs
Fight or
crossed.
flight, right?
Sit with your legs crossed. Sit with your legs crossed.
They're going to try to kill me, please.
Who's trying to kill you?
I had a stunt today.
What?
I had a stunt today, sir.
You
I
had
need to.
you had what?
A stunt. Like, no.
Okay, now that we have this incoherent language as an internal affairs guy, seeing this from the first time, now I obviously see drugs. Like, this is not how a drunk person acts. This is how a person acts on drugs, right? So now it's not like this. Now I know what the over theatrics is for. Now I know that it's induced by some kind of drugs, but the guy's talking about being a stunt man. Also, look at his breathing. His breathing is already difficult. Like, he's already gasping for air every time he talks. So there's something coursing through those veins that is getting that heart rate skyrocketed. He's also just in a wreck, but nothing he says makes sense.
No, that's a car.
Okay, what car were you driving?
BMW.
The BMW.
They're going to try to put stuff in my car.
Who's trying to put stuff in your car?
They're going to try to.
7 minutes later, Anderson attempts to run away.
Please.
Stay down for me. Hey,
Please.
hey, stay
Please.
here.
Now, this is where I have a problem with this as a hindsight, right? As a Monday morning quarterback. You cannot let this happen as a cop. You cannot let this happen. This guy getting up like this after he's been told several times to sit down, this is where you should have tased him. What I think is going on here is this cop doesn't want to engage this guy alone. I think what this cop's doing here is he's got too many things to think about right now, and fighting this guy to the win is not one of those things. And that's a product of where we're at in society. I think if you rewound this 10 years ago, that cop would have went ahead and tased this guy to the ground and probably put his hands on him and been very aggressive and won this battle mano a mano. You can't do that now. You can't get in these kind of battles. So what's going to happen subsequently here is that this guy's going to run out into traffic, which creates a lot more harm than good. But this would not have happened 10 years ago.
Hey, I got to ask, I wonder too, though, just in the timing of this incident, we're 7 minutes into it. He had already called for backup, but is he thinking, and I may embarrass myself here because maybe I'm missing something, but is he thinking he has probable cause to arrest or at least detain at this point? Like, is there a crime other than he suspects him being DUI?
Yeah, I think there's a crime here. Right, he does suspect him for being DUI.
Yeah, that's
There's
enough.
A car accident. You've got multiple witnesses telling you that he hit the car. Actually, what you're going to see in another body cam footage is a Hispanic male saying that the guy tried to steal his car.
Yeah, right.
So, the cop, he's going to hear all of these things. He knows, he gets it. Also, you are trying to conduct an investigation, which this guy is delaying and obstructing. So you do have a crime of resist, delay, and obstruct.
That's true. And the just the fear of him running into traffic. I mean, this is that old, like, the public never wants to hear that you tase this guy for his own safety, but it's for his safety and for traffic. I mean, like, he's going to cause another accident.
There does have an appearance to be excited delirium. Somebody mentioned that in there. I don't think there's enough evidence that the cop can say for sure that this guy is going through excited delirium. I'd also like to point out, because your hands are out in front of your chest, it doesn't mean you're not a threat to me. Matter of fact, I start every single one of my shooting drills in the exact stance that he's in. He's in a belated stance. He's got both hands out front, and that's a perfect opportunity to drop a hand and draw a weapon. So, I mean, although I like to see your hands, and that's great, doesn't mean that, like, the threat's no greater or any less at this point. So, this guy's being over theatric with his hands. I don't like it. I would not have allowed this guy. Now, granted, I got out of policing 5 years ago, but I'll tell you right now, 5 years ago, this guy would have not have made it to his feet like that. I would have already shot him with my taser, and I would have already sprayed him right now. It would have been game on from this moment. I told him to sit down. I told him to cross his legs. I told him to get in his knees. He jumped up. He took 5 steps, and then he turned around and faced me. Bam, you're getting blasted with a pepper spray or a taser. Right now, we're going to go ahead and end this because it's not going anywhere good. It's only going to get worse from here. But I get it. The current culture, if I was a cop right now, I cannot say for definite that I would have done that, because current culture doesn't understand and doesn't look. And if you tase that guy and he falls down, if he does die from excited delirium, you're kind of fucked.
Stay here.
Sir, I need some water. Can you get some water? Please.
Stay here. I'll get you some water here in a second.
Now,
okay?
look, now
Just
those head movements, those furtive head movements that he's doing right now while asking for water, he is delaying. Can I get some water? Where can I run? Where can I run? Can I get some water? Looks back up at the red light, looks at the heavy traffic. I mean, the dude totally wants to run. He's just scared to do it, but he knows that's what he wants to do. He wants to run. He's like a 3-year-old trying to go to bed.
Seat up against the wall there.
Yes,
okay? Have a seat against the wall.
Sir.
Have a seat against the wall here.
Everybody got to see me, sir.
He's looking at the wall where the cop says, but he's walking the other direction, but he's making his hand movements as if he wants to go sit at the wall. Again, he's giving you all the indicators that he wants to obey, but what he's doing and saying is not how he's acting. So very manipulative. And this is something that's going on almost with every other arrest around the country, especially in the inner cities. It is something that it's learned behavior. It's what people in the inner cities are seeing everybody do, and it's starting to work. And it's this, if we say we're being compliant, if our hands are acting like we're being compliant, then the cop is in the wrong.
Right.
Okay. But if I say I'm doing one thing and I'm pointing my hands as if I'm doing that one thing, but I'm running in the opposite direction, am I really being compliant? No, you're just manipulating the situation.
It's all being done for the camera in a sense, or this dude's probably not even thinking about the camera, but he is definitely, the hands up and the forward leaning bias, as somebody pointed out, like, it's all indicative of he's getting ready to either attack or run, like you've said. I mean, but the hands up is, if you'll see, his hands keep getting spread farther and farther apart. So though that might be a sign of submission to some people, it's also a distraction. He's looking for any avenue he can get. Now, the other thing too to think about is this guy has already called for backup. there isn't any backup here. So, I mean, the thing that popped into my head was he was within an arm's reach. He could have gone hands on at this point, but he's got nobody there to help him out. So that could turn very ugly very quickly. I don't know if that's what he was thinking or.
Oh, 100%. Because I know that he was thinking, I can't tase him yet because, there's too many rules that go behind the taser now. And he's probably thinking I can't articulate pepper spraying him. And I'm not going to go hands on. Now, like I said, 5-10 years ago, this wasn't an issue. You didn't have to have backup because you didn't need somebody to be physical with you before you could tase them.
Right.
You could have a furtive movement and you could tase somebody. And all day long, 5 or 6 years ago, I would have said, these are all furtive movements. And I'm not going to go hands on with somebody that, one, I believe is on crack, and two, that already looks like they want to flee from me. So that's enough resistance. That's enough articulable resistance that I would go ahead and spray him. Now, I probably would have tased him because of the traffic scenario that we have right there. But you can't do that in 2023. So I get it.
Lending to the delusion, though, he's talking about that he did a stunt earlier. He's talking about you got to watch over there because people are putting stuff in my car. So, I mean, you already know also he's having delusions, whether it's because of psychotic episode or drugs. He's not present there.
And this guy can kill you very quickly because he's not going to feel any pain. You could smack this dude in the head with a fucking asp and he could be bleeding out and he's still choke you to death before he goes out. So, I get all of that. I mean, do you think 10 years ago he would have gotten this far?
No,
I don't think so. I think cops were a lot more confident, a lot more competent because they weren't having to overthink everything.
Yeah.
And right now I see that this cop is like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And
I don't want to be in the black. Over here. I want people to see me.
Sir, okay, you can sit right there then. If you want to be seen,
I want to be
right
closer
there.
to this crosswalk.
Right there if you want.
I want to be closer to this crosswalk so I can run when that light turns red.
I want to have somebody see you.
Please.
Okay?
Please.
Just sit down for me a second here, okay?
Please, look, sir.
Sit down for me. Sit down.
You're putting a thing on me.
Sit down. I'm not putting anything. Come here. Sit down over here.
Please.
You missed, perhaps you missed it, but if you're listening, you definitely missed it. But there's somebody that they blacked out or blanked out on the screen who said from the distance, "We're watching. Everything is okay." So the public is reassuring this guy. Just listen to what the cop is saying. He's not doing anything to hurt you. Everybody is picking up on this guy's tone, that he's delusional, he's paranoid, and he's getting ready to do whatever he's going to do.
I don't want you in the road.
And also, I'd like to point out that we're at 7 minutes and 15 seconds. And there's still no backup. And this is Los Angeles. And this is a very busy part of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I get you can't go anywhere in Los Angeles in 7 minutes. But damn, man, that's why it was crucial to ride two. They stop letting cops ride 2x2. And I understand the dangers of riding 2x2. I understand that there's more of a mob mentality that can grow. There's more corruption that can happen when you got two. But I also agree that that's far and few between the good of having two cops together in one car. 7 minutes is unreasonable amount of time.
Well, and then the other side of the argument, though, Eric, too, is if there are two cops, they're in two cars and they're in two different places, meaning it may not take a backup to get there 7 minutes. The one cop that's in the passenger seat of the car that gets there 7 minutes later could have gotten there in 4 minutes or 2 minutes. It's just 6 of one, half dozen the other sometimes. But
I think when you're in a high crime area, I think doubling up. If you don't have backup accessible in 7 minutes, you got to ride doubles. Officer safety's got to be first.
I'll tell you what's popped into my mind too, though. He went on what we would call in Hillsborough on view. So he went on view of a traffic crash. He was waved down, and he said, "Look, I got a possible DUI here. I'm not involved." So that sounds like the emphasis is, "Look, this is just a minor crash. I'm not involved," which is again an administrative. We're in this administrative frame of mind where we got to please the administrators, not necessarily what's in front of us. So, hey, look, I'm not involved. Don't get alarmed. But so when you think about it as a cop in Raleigh or as me in Hillsborough, you're like, I'll swing over that way. But he sounds like he's fine. And I'm thinking of what I'm thinking, not as a, if I were his zone partner, I'd be on the way. If I were a supervisor there, I'd be like, let me swing over there and see what he's got. But I'm sure someone is going to go help him because of the.
I mean, he asked for backup, did he not?
Yeah. Well, did he? I think. Yeah, he did. He did because of the potential DUI, but he didn't say, like, hey, I need.
I mean, like he didn't say step it up, but I still think though, like, I don't know, man. I'm maybe I'm just blessed to live in a weird city, but I mean, even if you just chalantly ask for backup, it's never taken me. Chalantly, not a word.
Well, chalantly would be I guess the opposite of nonchalantly, but
nonchalantly.
So, but we'll see also the officers' video, the first people that arrived on scene, which is a whole plot twist, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. Keep going. But I still think 7 minutes is a long time.
Oh, I'm not.
That's like state trooper time. It's like state trooper backup.
Especially in LA, and I can't even remember what time this was. So I mean, I get that totally.
It's
come here. I don't want you on the road. Come here.
Please.
Come here.
So he's already running.
Come here.
This motherfucker's
Come
running
here.
down busy street. And look, guess when he started running? When the light was red. So remember, he moved. And for those of you who are just listening, when he said, I want to sit over here in the light, I want to sit over here in the light, he moved all the way perfectly centered on the crosswalk and looked at the red light that had just turned green by the time he got over there, which means the other crosswalk that he was sitting at just turned red and was green. So now he wraps back around to where he started to the other one that had turned green, and now he's running. So he was waiting for those lights to turn red this whole time.
He has presence of mind.
And here we go on this piece of motorcycle. But it's effective. And thank God for the Tesla. You know, this dude did not want to get smoked by the Tesla, so he stopped in the middle of the intersection. Thank God for busy traffic. He couldn't get through there.
Now, get down over there.
Now the cop's pissed.
Turn over on your stomach right now.
So
turn over on your stomach right now.
He's on the double yellow line right now. He's in the middle, literally in the middle of the road, in the middle of traffic.
You can't get any more in the middle. Cotton, like the ESPN. You couldn't get any more in the middle, Cotton. Back to you. But I like how he still has his hands up. Like, this motherfucker's arms got to be super tired. This guy's got traps of Hercules because his hands have been up for like 10 minutes now.
Turn over. Yes. Turn over.
Yes, but he doesn't, right? Turn over. Yes. But I'm not turning over. I'm still sitting in the middle of the fucking street, ready to kick you.
Over on your stomach. Get over on your stomach. Hold on.
Hold on. Now I'm back up running again.
Please don't do this.
Now, also, the police officer's voice changed.
Yes.
Did you hear the change in voice? Get on the ground. Rah, rah. And the reason why it changed is because his backup was there and he saw their backup car. So now he's like, now I'm going to be aggressive because I have friends here with me.
Well,
okay? Seriously, I'm not dogging him, dude. I'd be in the same thing. But 10 years ago, you didn't need to have your friends there to have that, get on the ground confidence, because you had the confidence of, I'm going to blast this motherfucker with my taser, and I'm going to pepper spray this bitch, and I'm going to beat the brakes off his kneecaps with my baton. And I don't need friends because I've got a whole tool belt of friends, but you can't use your tool belt anymore. So this guy gets that bravado when his friends show up.
You're right. It's verbal judo. Like he's trying to talk his way out of this situation, or pleasantly talk this guy into handcuffs. But when the cavalry shows up, it's, we always talk about that ATM ask, tell, make, and he has asked way too many times.
Gosh, dude. Repetitive.
I'm
not to the fault of his, to the fault of the times that we're living in. I think this cop 5 years ago, before he got on that bike, motorbike, 5 years ago, he probably would have had that bravado. Sit down now. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, he would have had that from the get-go. Now we've got this mentality of, okay, stop. No. Sit down. We got to be kinder and gentler. This shit doesn't work out, folks. This whole kinder, gentler thing, when people are being this disobedient, it doesn't work. It doesn't work with your kids. And you're all doing it with your fucking kids these days, too. It drives me nuts. Son, stop interrupting. No, you're interrupting. Son, son. No. Go sit back at the table. We're not going to do this. Son, stop running around the table. Okay, how many times do we need to tell him? How many times do we need to go through this loop? Like I saw it in a restaurant the other day. It's like, stop, dude. Like, you tell this kid one time he doesn't obey you, you snatch his ass up and take him outside and make him pay for it. Either by sitting in the car the rest of the day, or spanking his behind, or making him go with no food at all. But like, we don't do this. Like, we're all into this kinder, gentler celebration of disobedience. It drives me nuts.
Please don't do this, sir. Please help me, please. You know what? Help me, please. No, please help me. Help me, please. Please, 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 please. Keenan, relax. Keenan, relax.
Keenan trying to run away.
Yeah, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but he's yelling, please, 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 please. But please what? So this is where I say compare and contrast this to Memphis, because this guy is off the charts, yelling, screaming, irate, not in his presence of mind. What do you hear the officers doing? Keenan, don't do this. Stop, Keenan. Stop. Put your hands behind your back. And I get what you're saying about command presence and maybe having a little bit more of a tone, but they're also not crazy. So if anybody wanted to make the de-escalation argument, there is no argument. These guys, there was nothing to de-escalate. All they're trying to do is secure this guy so he doesn't further run into traffic, or to detain him for the potential crime that he committed. And you'll see in a second. But got anything else, Eric?
No, a tactical.
I did not call him a horse.
I know, but tactical dude says the fight just kicked in, and you're right. I'm glad you noticed that, man. That's very
good.
noticeable. That he knows that the flight time is over. Talking your way out of this is over, and now I'm going to fight. And although he's saying one thing, his actions are completely different.
Help!
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're trying to kill me. Hey, stop! I'm gonna take you.
The following is body-worn video from another officer who responded to this incident. So now we've moved off of the motorcycle cop.
Hold on. We already have a unit helping you guys out, right? So give us a second.
And I love that these guys have no fucking clue what's going on. Because they would have no clue because there's no radio. You know what I mean?
That's the plot twist. So I'm wondering if this is the first set of backup on the scene.
It is. These are the two guys that walk up.
Yeah, they're only backing. They're only getting over there to help him to back up because the citizens are like, yeah, we're fine. Go help your buddy.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Like, they're here like, we're here to help with a DUI. Maybe this is like a rookie, kind of like a
FTO.
This might be like a ride-along type deal where it's like you got the rookie cop that's being trained by the senior cop. But either way, these guys are doubled. And this next piece of video is quite hilarious to me.
We're going to try to set everything up so that way no one gets hit and there's no other vehicles.
I think the guy up there needs help, though, because the guy's...
I'm going to play the whole thing. I'll rewind it. But essentially what's going on for our listeners out there is these guys are like, hey, what we're going to do is just move these cars out of the roadway because you're causing a lot of fucking traffic, right? Which is an attitude we've all had. Like, it's a fucking fender bender. Why are we leaving this shit in the middle of the fucking road? Like, just move this shit. There's a gas station right there. Like, any one of y'all could push this bitch out of the road, and then we don't have all this traffic jam. It's, piled up for the last fucking 3 miles. Like, that's his attitude. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. That's fine and all. But I think your buddy fucking needs help. I love her California. Like, so I think your buddy. And we had a publicist, dude, that worked for us when we were with Drinking Bros, and she was from LA. It's exactly how she talked. Like, yeah, that's fine and all. You guys can do that. But honestly, like, it's going to cost you $15,000. So you're like, whoa, $15,000. Like, you could have started with that. We could have not had this conversation at all. But it's maybe like, it's California. Fucking nobody cares, dude.
It's like, it's a compliment up front. It's kind of like, well, that's great and all, Eric. I appreciate the thought of you bringing me to lunch. But that car's on fire behind you.
Which is like a product of everybody going to therapy, because that's like how therapy starts. I empathize with what you're saying. However, you're fucking wrong and you're stupid. Like, I fucking catch myself sometimes doing that. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, this isn't therapy. Like, hey, fucking dumb. That's not going to work. How about we don't do it? Your opinion sucks. I'm just kidding. That's how I feel at my distillery quite often when people try to give me advice there, as if I haven't thought of it yet. All right, so I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit and just play the whole thing without interrupting you because it's super fun.
Second, we're going to try to set everything up so that way no one gets hit and there's no other vehicles.
I think the guy up there needs help, though, because the guy's trying to run away. The guy who's driving this car...
Let's go get him.
Oh shit! Let's go get him. He puts his seatbelt on. He puts his fucking seatbelt on to go like 40 feet. By the way, that's how fucking indoctrinated these guys are over policies.
The subtitle says OSH ... It doesn't even say oh shit.
And I bet you he got written up for saying that too.
Right.
I'll almost guarantee you that he at least got a verbal reprimand on paper, which I love that. Like, I need you to sign this piece of paper that says we're giving you a verbal warning. Like, well, if it's not paperwork, why am I signing paper? Like, fucking stupid.
Just coaching
but
form.
I do love that they put their seatbelts on to go 40 feet. Well, one of them.
27 American 156 coming.
Turn around. Over on your stomach. Get over on your stomach. Hold on. Get down.
Get
Please, sir, please don't do this. Please don't do this, sir. Please help me, please. You know what? Help me, please. No, please help me. Help me, please. Please, 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 please. Keenan, relax. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out. Help! They're trying to kill me. Hey, stop him, I'll tase you. Stop him, I'll tase you. Milo's trying to kill me. I have stuff on YouTube. Stop it, or I'm going to tase you. Yes, sir. Stop it, or I'm going to tase you. Hey, please help me. Help! Help! Stop it, or I'm going to tase you. Stop it, or I'm going to tase you. I'm going to tase you. Stop it.
Now, let's also talk about this really quickly. This happens every single day to these officers in Los Angeles. Like, this isn't some kind of like abnormal thing that happens. This will happen every shift.
Right.
In Raleigh, this happens once a day, almost every day. I mean, maybe not on a Sunday before like 3:00 p.m., like maybe not like on a Tuesday before 11 a.m. But like, if you're a cop every day, this is like normal. So for like people that are like, man, these cops don't know how to fight. They might just be, they might have scabs on their knees from what happened yesterday. I know that there was a time when I was trying to detain a dude and my elbows were so shredded from chasing a guy and tripping on a parking block, like going through a parking lot through a Walmart. And I landed on both knees. And so both knees were scabbed. And so, when you got a scab and you straighten out your elbows and the scabs crack and they bleed, and then they go through your shirt. So I had done that just by driving. And so I had two little blood marks coming through on my long sleeves because I have tattoos. So I couldn't wear short sleeves. So I ended up, one of my supervisors made me go change my shirt. Well, I only have one backup shirt in my locker. So I actually got into, it wasn't like a drop down fight, but like a guy didn't want to be in handcuffs, as most people don't. So you always have to, pull them a little bit. Hey, don't do this. Don't do this. And they're like, oh, all right, I won't do it. Handcuff them. But I was like babying this guy so much because I didn't want to stretch out my elbows to crack my scabs open that he took off running on me. And I was like, fuck. And then I end up, of course, shredding my knees tackling this guy. So I see some kind of comments in there like these cops need better training. So this right here happens every single day. So they don't know that they need like more jujitsu. I mean, we can always use more training, but like this is standard part. Like these guys have probably been doing this for like 6 years straight every day of their life. They're just trying to like almost like cheat it because they don't want to fuck up their uniform. Like the one dude's not even getting a side mount, and it's not because he's not trained to do a side mount. It's because he doesn't want to put his knees down on the road because it's 3:00 in the afternoon. He doesn't want to fuck his uniform up. That's what I see right now. Is that what you see?
Yeah, I think as it progresses, you'll see another. I mean, I don't know if we're going to even have time to get to the other body cams, but there's another guy that just literally casually walks up, and I don't think it's out of response. Like, I don't think it's out of the ordinary that he responded like that way, because he showed the sense of urgency to at least get over there, but he doesn't want to be part of the dog pile. He can also tap in and have somebody move out of his way if things are getting brutal or if he needs to jump in to help. But these guys are handling it like professionals, and this guy is saying things like, stop, help me, they're trying to kill me. And it's again the dramatics that you made reference to earlier. They're not doing anything but trying to put handcuffs on this guy. And
Cat Steele says apparently it takes 10 cops to handle one perp these days. You do when you don't use your tools.
It could when the guy's fueled by cocaine in the middle of excited delirium.
And also, you know,
to try that.
They always take, I've said this before, but they take the smallest girl, at least in our academy, they usually pick the smallest girl in the class and they tell her to turtle on the floor, which that means bring your hands up underneath your chest and bring your knees in, almost like playing popcorn on a trampoline. And they say, okay, without striking her, without using any tools on your belt, put this young girl into handcuffs. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And they tell her, don't, without kicking, striking, or using any tools, the smallest girl in the class, nobody can manipulate her hands from that position. And you had guys that were jiu-jitsu dudes. You got one dude that had a full cauliflower ear that's done like little amateur fights. And we all took our turn at this little girl. I mean, you could literally grab her by the arm and pull her up over your head, minus slamming her on the ground to get her arms to come over. You cannot get somebody's arms. It's almost impossible until you can use striking techniques, until you can use pressure point techniques, which you cannot use these days, right? They don't want you hitting somebody with their baton. They might as well take the batons away, to be honest with you. So how do you do that? When somebody's turtling on drugs, cats, you're not getting them. You're not, you know, when you can't strike somebody and you can't inflict, what do they call that kind of pain when you do a distracting pain?
Pain compliance.
Pain compliance. When you can't do that, you can't do it. Now, the tools are fine. The tools work. If somebody turtles and I tase them, they unturtle pretty fucking quick after the tasing's over. If you pepper spray somebody, they unturtle real quick because they can't breathe and they want to get that shit out of their eyes quick, fast, and all sorts of hurry. And once their hands are up, you know, bam, you can use leverage and you can use all sorts of stuff. So there are tools that worked and they have worked for long periods of time. The problem is they work too well. And that's the point of the whole defund the police movement.
Yes.
Whenever you're starting to put criminals in jail, we need to make it harder for the cops. We did prior to 2015, none of this was an issue. Between 2000 and 2015, police shootings and killings, everything was down for an all-time low. Right. The 70s when it was at its worst. 2015 was when it was at its best. And all of a sudden when it was at its best, we took it back to the 70s, where now you do have to have a dog pile and you do have to have 10 guys to fucking take down one person because we're not allowed to use the tools.
Not a Cop brings up a couple good points. One of them being like he disagrees that, you know, they do it in detention all the time. They do it in corrections all the time where, you know, if they ball up into a ball that they get them to comply. But a couple things that I want to just point out. One being, you're not dealing with intoxicated or high on cocaine. I know there's dope in the jail and I get that they're, you know, that they make buck and all that stuff or whatever. But the chances are if you're dealing with an inmate who's in a ball like that, and yes, there are strength in numbers, you could pull them apart like taffy and get them to comply. It doesn't work that way on the street necessarily because of the fuel that's given by the dope, either methamphetamine or cocaine. And then on top of that, it's the fight for freedom. So even if the guy in the jail, the inmate, is fighting you and fighting you and fighting you, the best thing that can happen in his mind is, or her mind, is get up and run away, and they're going to run smack dab into a wall or a door. Whereas this guy is going to get up and run smack dab into the 405 and potentially get away, or the LA River. I think there's a big difference between the two. I always had respect and admiration for the detention or correction set because they really did know how to communicate better. They knew how to search better, and they definitely had the pain compliance techniques down. But the two worlds are definitely different, in my opinion. Yeah.
Somebody says a lot of things in the chats here. Gracie offers free Brazilian jiu-jitsu to law enforcement. Okay, where? They don't do that in Raleigh. Also, he says you like your days off. What days off, Tyler? What days off? You're constantly in court. You're constantly having to go to sexual harassment training, how to deal with transgender training, having to go to the range for every single weapon you have. The more weapons you have, the more times you have to go to the range. And, if you're going to go to the range and you're going to qualify, obviously you're going to have to practice. So, what days off? You also got to stay in shape. So you got to go to the gym. Also, you've got kids, right? Some people have 5 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids. When you're going to go to Brazilian jiu-jitsu on your one Thursday night off, where's the family time? So now you don't have a family. So like this whole Brazilian jiu-jitsu thing is so fucking out of control. And I know Mike the cop loves it and everything. And you say like, what's important now? Well, I mean, it's just not logical for a lot of people. Like once your kids are moved out of the house and you've got kind of a more flexible schedule, sure, you've got it. But like, where does that end? You know, how do you become a really good toxicologist, or how do you become a good DUI guy if you're spending all your time becoming a good warrior? You know, it's like, I think it's great, and it should be a priority if you can. I think it should just be part of shift. I think you do 30 minutes of grappling before every shift and just make that mandatory, and you get a little bit of exercise or whatnot. Or make it a part of training. But this whole like go drive an hour to the nearest city because cops don't live where they work, you know, to go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's just not realistic. It's not, you know, and the point is you know, cops aren't warriors these days. I'd say like, you know, you got a fuck ton of cops that are veterans, dude, that, you know, serve multiple combat tours. You're not allowed to be a warrior. Problem is that if you know anything about policing or you were a cop, that one of Obama's pillars of policing that came out via 2015, one of the big things was demilitarizing police academies. And because a lot of academies were paramilitarized. And so they took that away. Also, they changed warrior mindset training, which every cop received in a lot of big agencies prior to 2015, where it's 5 days of warrior mentality training. And they spend like 2 days showing you a bunch of cops getting murdered, to the point where you have 3 or 4 or 5 cops in your academy at the end that quit because they don't like it. One of my buddies was awesome, dude. He was such a cool guy. He was one of the class leaders. And we got to that week, and the first 2 or 3 days was nothing but cops being murdered and screaming and just the most horrific sounds, begging for their lives, talking about how many children they had. It was gut-wrenching. I hate those videos. And he fucking quit. He got up and he says, I don't want to do this. Don't want to be a cop. Then they spend the last 3 days of that course showing you how to win, and then they show you a bunch of cops winning and get you motivated to go out and not be the victim, but be the victor. They changed that training to now protector training. And now all those videos are people talking people off of bridges and being a protector role. So we have lost the warrior mindset training. But it's not that the cops that go in there don't have that. It's taken away from them when they get there. I think every cop wants to be a fucking lion. That's why they become cops. They want to be that crusader.
You know what pisses me off more than anything in the world is the media's portrayal of the word warrior, when they say that all cops are trained to be warriors and blah, blah, because they're assuming that warrior in the sense of we're going to war and we're constantly on the offensive and we're looking for people to kill and blah, blah, blah. When in actuality, a high majority of the warrior mindset is I'm not going to lose this battle if I have to engage in it. So the warrior mindset is what's saving cops' lives. Like they take 2 shots to the vest and they're able to return fire or whatever. They got half their leg blown off, like you've seen in Afghanistan or whatever, or our boy Dexter, you know, half his arm blown off, but he's not giving up. That's a warrior mentality. Just don't give up. But you know, it's portrayed as this evil, like we smear the blood of infants on our faces and run out and try to police a community. It's so far from the truth.
The greatest example of this is right what you're seeing right now. When those 2 backup cops came here, this cop has a warrior mentality, a mentality of confidence and a bravado about him of you're going to listen to me, you're going to do it now. No, that should have been, if he would have had warrior mindset training coming out, he would have won that fight before his backup ever got there, because you would have had that all this. I am confident in the skills that I've learned, and you know the importance of winning that fight. And you don't need Brazilian jiu-jitsu to understand. When you have that confidence, you're seeking it out. You're watching fights. You're rolling around with your kids and practicing these maneuvers because you have this mindset that I always need to be ready. When that's taken away from you, you're like, I'm just going to talk my way out of it anyway. I don't need that kind of stuff. So, you know, we just have to be careful with the Brazilian. It's important, but I don't know that I necessarily like the shaming of cops for not doing it. You know, because there's a lot of cops that do it, and I'd say some of unless your family's doing it with you, then, you know, you're at the chance of the detriment of your family, because it takes a lot of time to get your little blue belts and your black belts, a lot of time away from your family. It's like golfers do. It's the same shit about golfers. Be a good golfer and a good cop. Yeah, you need to be single without kids. Here we go.
right now. Stop it right now. Turn over. Turn over, I'm gonna tase you. Turn over or I'm gonna tase you. Turn over, I'm gonna tase you.
He's wheezing. But he's not wheezing because he is fighting like a motherfucker.
It's on his jaw.
Stop it.
Now he's
Stop
acting
it,
like he's being choked, but he's not.
Okay, stop it or I'm gonna tase you. Stop it or I'm gonna tase you.
They're not doing anything.
Please stop resisting.
Please. Please. Please.
I'm gonna tase him. I'm gonna tase him.
You know what gets lost in the podcast is the slow motion of this whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not whipping this guy around, and they're not ripping. It's very controlled, and it's very intentional, and it's not violent.
Methodical, even.
His words are making it appear that it's violent, and this is a tactic that's probably taught in the streets.
Oh, it's
They're trying to kill me.
now. Okay, this is what we got to talk about. This pussy ass fucking taser. And my buddy told me today that the tasers that they just reissued are like fucking worthless, and that like 9 times out of 10 they're not even doing what they're supposed to do, because we've dumbed down the taser so much. I don't know when you got tased, but could you talk when you got tased?
No,
not a chance.
Not
Could you continue to resist in the manner that this guy is resisting while being tased?
No.
Did the taser not make? I mean, he shot him at point blank range. I mean, he is wearing a sweatshirt, but there's no way that those darts don't go through that that shirt that close.
Oh, there's definitely good contact there. There's no way.
And don't tell me it's the drugs that are blocking it, because I have tased dudes that are going through excited delirium. Matter of fact, not me personally, but guys that I was with tased the guy outside of the bar that literally died of excited delirium, melted to death, like his body overheated. He was butt naked. But the taser still worked.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the drugs.
Well, I don't know that. I think adrenaline can do a lot of things. I think it can block a lot of receptors, pain receptors. To
an extent. I don't think with the old taser that you had enough adrenaline to block it.
The cocktail of cocaine and adrenaline, anyway.
Right.
But
I just think the old tasers even, didn't give you the opportunity to fight it with adrenaline. Like, it overpowered your cocaine and adrenaline. These pussy tasers that they give now,
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa. I mean, that's a lot of tasing. And that dude is not even phased.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yes, sir.
Don't resist.
For those of you who don't know, when you pull a taser, when you pull the trigger on a taser, it goes for 5 seconds. Doesn't matter how adrenaline fueled you are. Doesn't matter if you hold the trigger for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute. The taser only goes for 5 seconds until you re-engage the taser. And sometimes you have to re-engage the taser twice to get it to work. It's another safety protocol. So they're not just stunning this guy forever and ever and ever.
No.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Okay.
And he's still talking through that taser, so it's not
Stop
working.
it.
Help.
Stop
Help,
it.
please. Help.
Also, the big giant's got 1.2 million views on YouTube, says that when you tase a man in the heart 6 consecutive times for a grand total of 30 seconds, it's no wonder their heart explodes. That taser's nowhere near his heart. They have tested the taser on hearts to the point of literally, what do they have to tase? They had to consecutively tase a pig for like 12 or 13 minutes, or was it more than that? Was it like, I think it was something more like
the pig, and that was the original taser. Let me tell you, about 2 months ago, this is not an ad for Axon, and I'm not pro or con Axon, by the way, because they do good work, and then we also see this, but the CEO or the founder of Axon did a video that I just watched. He said that they know that they are not perfect. They used to claim 0 deaths. They have claimed 26 deaths. In the 26 deaths related to taser energy weapons, each were attributed to falls or flammable combustion. And he went on to say it's a less than a 1 in a million chance that probe makes it into your heart and causes either the arrhythmia or the death that people assume that a taser is causing, the electrical shock. The other thing to remember, especially about this case, is if the electricity is going to be the cause of death in your heart to cause cardiac arrest, it's immediate because it's interrupting the electricity in your heart. It doesn't occur 4 hours later. 4 hours later, when you're in a hospital and tied to a bunch of EKG and they're monitoring your heart rate, it doesn't have a residual effect. That 5-second shot is done for a reason. It cuts off at 5 seconds. There's no damage to the heart, so to speak. And there's not a leg to stand on. It. Every article you read is going to say that the taser caused this because it blew his heart up, but it's untrue.
That's probably the fucking 8 ball of cocaine.
More than likely.
More than likely. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Do you by chance Manscaped? Is that
I do indeed.
Is that a personal? Is that too personal of a question?
Not for me. I'm not a dummy pants. I definitely Manscaped.
Whether you're brand new or already a member with Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0, which we love. With this glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10-part Platinum Package is everything that you know and love in performance. You got the little nose hair trimmer. You got the lawnmower, which I just found out you can use inside the shower. It's dope, man. It's like so much easier to shave inside the shower. Plus, it's got that like ball nicking stuff that it makes it prevents your balls from being nicked up to death. It looks scary. Like it took me a long time to put the 4.0 up next to my sack because I thought it was going to rip my sack open. I was going to lose a ball in the shower, but that's not what happened. Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and weed whacker, nose and ear trimmer, ear hair trimmer, featured proprietary advanced skin safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof so that you can keep scaping and even when the weather is changing. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the ultra premium body wash and ultra premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Look, dude, Valentine's Day is coming. Get that guy a ghost bed, get him a Manscaped. But listen, guys, if you don't have Manscaped and your wife's not going to do that, buy Manscaped for yourself and give it as a gift for her. Shave your balls for that old significant other. Shave your pubes. Shave that belly region so that she can love you without having to whack through the fucking Congo to get there. Friction. Yeah, but we shouldn't save a signature scent for our pits. Use the crop preserver and ball deodorant. Yes, you can go out to eat. She doesn't. You don't get back and fucking smell like balls. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in their Platinum 4.0 package. You get the boxer briefs, which are incredible. I wish I could just buy the boxers. I wear my Manscaped boxers too much. As in, like, I'll wear them for like 3 days straight. Because when you have the ball deodorant on, fucking your balls never stink. So you can just wear the same underwear over and over and over again. Yeah, you can. You also get the little safe travel bag, which if you've ever been with me when I've traveled, you'll know that I always have it with me. So I always get my little Manscaped leather pouch. I love it. Get the Platinum Package this fall. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off free. This Valentine's Day. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off free shipping with the promo code WOLFPACK. It's 20% off with free shipping in manscaped.com when you use the code WOLFPACK Manscaped. Clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine. Ooh. Manscaped. Nobody needs this, Eric. Is that what Andrea says? Andrea, come on, girl. Too bad there's not a womanscaped.
I believe there is.
Your armpit hair is out of control these days. And it's turning gray. So shave those armpit holes. Maybe you'll find the love that you're looking for.
Who doesn't want a Platinum Package, by the way?
Oh, God. I love my Platinum Package.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I'm not resistant. Yeah,
do not move.
Okay.
If not, I'm going to tase you again.
Okay.
I got one.
And he goes
Help
again.
me.
He moves.
Okay.
And he doesn't tase me.
Here, hold on. Stop it. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Guys, pry those hands apart. I can see you again, baby. And we have some body worn camera coming up from another officer who responded to the incident. I think this is the one that Drew was talking about.
Okay, please, sir, please don't do this.
I'm not going to go
Please
through all
don't
this
do this,
again.
sir. Please.
You get the point here.
Stop.
Everybody's Here's the video camera from. This is important though. This is the video camera.
This incident was also captured by a witness on their cellular phone.
By the way, I'd like to point out that fucking this is how bad LA is that they have a media relations captain. I'm not sure why you need to pay somebody captain's pay to sit around all day and do media publishing shit.
I do. I know why. I mean, 2020 alone, I know exactly why.
Yeah, but I don't think you need a captain.
Right.
You don't need a captain. Okay, that's not a captain's position. Give it to a regular street cop officer. That way your city's paying for a street cop salary to do this bullshit job that society makes us have, instead of paying somebody captain's pay to do a bullshit job. Like, this isn't fucking, this media relationship is not so important that a captain needs to be in charge of it.
Let our boy Marlon Marachi do it.
You know, making tons of money to do absolutely zero work. Now, this is a cell phone from a bystander who says it. You don't see this on mainstream media, though. You don't see this on mainstream media because. All right, here we go. That guy right there, he calls the accident. He was trying to steal my car.
Yeah, the police
are doing right, huh? Job right now, great job. Don't think that the police are abusing him. He was trying to go away. I think that guy's in a very paranoid state. I'm an Uber driver, and he was trying to steal my car while he hit the other car. Where he is in the car. Yeah, he was in the BMW right there. And this guy spells it all out. And I had to use his accent. Yeah, that's a taser. Yeah, they need to tase him, right? Now the bus is blocking our view. There we go. So that's as far as I need to go with that. Yeah. Of course, you won't see that part, but even the bystanders are like, man, this guy needs to be hemmed up, tuned up a little bit. That's my breakdown. If I'm an internal affairs officer, which thank God I'm not, I'd say the cops did a very great job. Our department's done a shitty job again at creating this problem. Our department bought in to this Black Lives Matter, defund the police movement. Our police department's training and standards has gotten us so far down this rabbit hole that we have 10 cops in the middle of a fucking busy highway in Los Angeles when this should have been taken care of on the sidewalk and finished in about 2 seconds. And this guy would still be alive. Had they had tased him in the first 5 seconds, jumped down on him, threw him into handcuffs while he was still in the handcuffs, he would not have resisted so long. It would have not taken 6 officers to pin him down to the side of the road. And he would not have exerted the energy that I believe caused him in the end to overdose. Also, we would have had EMS there a lot quicker because we would have been on the radio about 4 minutes sooner. So, and 4 minutes is a long time when it comes to the medical profession. So it's our department's fault that this guy is dead. I mean, it's his fault at the end of the day because he's the one that took all the drugs. But as an internal affairs agent, I want to apologize to the citizens that we bought into a bullshit narrative. And I'm sorry that we did this. And we're going to retrain our officers better to have more confidence in ending a scenario like this quicker, faster, and without interfering the public as much as it did stopping traffic. So again, we apologize and we're sorry. We're sorry that we got duped and we were fooled by your bullshit narrative. We're going to go back to the way it used to be.
2 things. I think when we read this, when the story initially came out, that, and I could be completely wrong, so forgive me if I am, I think that BMW was stolen, because if you remember right, the first thing he told the officer was like, I didn't have my key. Like, it was just an odd statement. He was like, I don't even have my key. I didn't have my key. Somebody came in and had to make a key for me or something. I don't think that was his BMW, but I don't remember the full story. And then the second thing I want to say to end this, hopefully, is from the Western Journal of Emergency Medicine. This is the definition of excited delirium. You should look into this further if you don't believe me that it exists. Excited or agitated delirium is characterized by agitation, aggression, acute distress, and sudden death. It's often in the pre-hospital care setting. It's typical associated with the use of drugs that alter dopamine processing, and most notably sometimes with the death of the affected person in the custody of law enforcement. Subjects typically die from cardiopulmonary arrest, although the cause is still debated. So excited delirium is a thing, meaning your drugs The drugs that are in your system are making your heart go so freaking fast, and your brain is moving so fast, and you're getting tased, and you're fighting. Obviously, he was full of adrenaline, so his body is coursing with hormones. He's out of his normal homeostasis. His obviously his heart has to pump more blood to get to those muscles that he's using. They get him to a hospital, and his heart has worn out. It's used all the beats it can in that little small period of time, and he dies. So everybody can attribute this to, well, it's an interruption in his electrical current in his heart, therefore the taser killed him. No. Look at excited delirium. It happens in punching and kicking incidents too, without a taser. So I don't know how you would explain that.
Yeah, the excited delirium thing, I mean, when it first came out, we had immense training on how to identify it. And I said to myself when they were giving us the training, I said, dude, they don't actually care. All they want to do is say that they've covered their asses, and so that when we do tase somebody, they can charge us for murder when it's done, because they can say, you guys knew all about it. Problem with excited delirium is that it's induced when drugs are entered the system, and people can do some crazy shit when drugs are in the system. So now like, so what do? You say like, oh, well, obviously this guy's on cocaine and he's on excited delirium, so let's just let him do whatever he wants. Well, because we can't do anything because he'll die. So now we got in a fight. It's in my book. And we could not do anything because the sergeants kept yelling, do not tase him. He's going through excited delirium. Do not do that. He's going through excited delirium. So it's like, okay. So just because he chose to take an absurd amount of drugs and mix them, and because he chose to do all this other bullshit while he's on drugs, now we just have to be like, oh, well, you played your cards right this time. Go ahead and fucking shit on the police car, shit on, because he was literally defecating and climbing up on the hoods of cars and pooping on them and stuff like that. So like, let's just let this guy be an asshole because of the bad decisions that he made.
Also, Officer Dr. Tansey, can you please diagnose excited delirium in the street while you're trying to fight this guy as well? Yeah,
and watch out for the traffic that's blowing by in Los Angeles, and try to cover your six from any other activists that might want to fucking hurt you. And
it's something we did miss in the body or with the public affairs captain or whatever she's called. EMS arrived 1 minute after the fight. 1 minute. So within 1 minute, EMS arrived to treat him. Within 7 minutes, he was at the hospital. So this wasn't even a matter of like neglect of care or any of this other stuff. Take it off the table. This guy fought. He chose to fight. They calmly tried to get him under control. They finally got him under control. They did put a band of some sort, like a cargo strap almost around his legs so that he couldn't fight. They got him onto a gurney, took him to the hospital. He died 4 hours later.
And I guarantee you, I'd love to know what happened, but I guarantee you he was strapped down and he died of exhaustion from trying to get out of the restraints.
Sure.
Let me go. Heart explodes.
As they would love to portray this, he didn't die with an officer who had his foot on his back or was standing on his neck or whatever, was holding him in a quarter Nelson. He was being a dummy pants, and he fought, and he paid the ultimate price.
Put his dumb pants on. Put his
dummy pants on.
Good job, Keenan. Fucking idiot.
Don't
if you want to support the show, though, this is the message that we want to put out. So, take your phone and screen record your favorite shots and share this on your Instagrams, because these are the stories that unfortunately the majority of our live chat at least happens to be pro police, but we don't need the pro police to see this. What we need is the civilian that doesn't understand the police to see this, to hear these points. So if you want to help the show, man, spread the word to your anti-cop friends. And like, hey, this is one of those episodes. You might be anti-cop, but fast forward to the 29-minute mark where they really get into the deep dive of this thing and just listen, because you can't listen to something like this and still go out and be like, yeah, these cops are terrible warmongers that did the right thing, or these are undertrained cops that need to go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we covered a lot of things that are practical, because it's easy to put marks on that, right? Go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and this will never happen. Well, yeah, okay. But then when they shoot somebody and they don't hit their target, they're going to say, well, go to the range more, or when they lose a big major court case, because they didn't handle the evidence right, then they're going to be like, well, they need more evidence training. Or when they go and deal with somebody that's bipolar schizophrenic and, they toss them around and rough them up, then that, we need to have more mental handicap training so that they know how to deal with deaf people or blind people or transgendered people, or what are all the amounts and crazy courses that cops have to take. It's insanity.
But they need more training, Eric.
Huh?
But they need more training.
But they need to go to more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Look, I'd love to have more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just know what'll happen. It's like you'll have a whole bunch of cops being able to roll people up, but then, they're going to slack on their shooting skills and they're going to shoot the wrong person. Next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, we used to send you guys to 30 minutes of Jiu-Jitsu, but now we're going to do 30 minutes of dry fires because you guys can't fucking shoot. So, at the end of the day, everybody's trying, these big, especially LAPD, especially Raleigh PD. I mean, there's all these, at the end of the day, originally, before it was handed over to the city managers and the mayors, it used to be that these agencies were doing everything they could to have the best cops. It was all about who has the best cops. Now it's, how do we get the mayor rehired? How do we get the city manager in for another term? And that's the sole purpose of this captain at this media relations. Her whole goal in life is, how do I say this? How do I do this so that the city manager looks good? She doesn't care. She doesn't care about the cops that she's talking about in this thing. She'd like to think she does, but she doesn't. She's putting out exactly what the chief. So if the chief's attitude on this was that the cops were 100% in the wrong, she would have spun that story to fit what the chief said, because she's not going to make it past captain if she doesn't. And that's where I have a big problem with all of this. It used to be that the captains, the chiefs, it was all about having the best department, getting that accreditation for your agencies, having your agencies look good and be well funded. Remember that? Remember when we were just begging for more money? We need more armored vehicles. We need plate carriers. We need this. We need that.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. I've always respected Hillsborough, though, because I've always felt like where you're from, they've always done a pretty good job with meeting both demands. I know there's a lot of drama and politics that go on, but Hillsborough, Tampa has always had pretty good training, tactics, and equipment.
Yeah, there's something to be said about an elected official heading an agency as well, because he's not at the pleasure of the
city manager,
mayor. He's at the pleasure of the people that are going to reelect him. So
right.
It's not just necessarily people pleasing. It's actually getting to root causes and delivering solutions. And I'm not saying that Tampa police don't do that, but Hillsborough has always engaged in problem solving.
Right. And that's, that's the joys of having a bigger county than city. See, here we have a bigger city than we have a county. So the city police have more of an impact than the county sheriffs do here. So, when the police implement, when the chiefs implement these wazoo, can't search cars, period, laws and rules and regulations. I mean, it doesn't really hurt the people in the county, and it only looks good to the people in the city, but, it's hurting the people in the city. But, it's all about the city manager and the city mayor. And people don't really care about the crime stats because they're not putting them out. You don't see that violent crimes up 28%, 26%, whatever it is. You don't hear that. What you hear is like, we have started a new initiative for transgendered equality here in the city of Raleigh, thanks to Mayor Susan B.
Anthony.
Pants,
Yes. What was her name?
Susan B. Empathy.
That is your rap name from here on out. You're Susan B. Empathy, the Brazilian rapper.
Yeah, man. Well, anyway, guys, share this out to your fucking cop hating friends. Go buy you a ghost bed pillow this Valentine's Day. Get you a ghost bed cooling sheet. Use that promo code Wolfpack. If you're having problems with the promo code or the Wolfpack, just drop us in the survey. But really helps our show out. Go get you that Manscaped 4.0 package. Make it the best Valentine's Day ever. Meetup is April 12th. April 12th, Wednesday. April 12th. Myself, Drew Breasy, Andrea Uplate. I believe Deadleg Media is going to be here. Jonathan Bates from Com Center is going to be here. All the guys from One More and I'm Out of Here podcast are going to be here. It is going to be a insane day. I think I might get Hamity, the Terrorist Whisperer. If you haven't heard the Terrorist Whisperer episodes anywhere, just look the guy up. Hamity, the Terrorist Whisperer, a phenomenal story. If you haven't heard that, try to get him out there with us. And well, it'll be a good time. So it's going to be from 5 to 8 at the distillery. And then it'll be from like 8 o'clock to, because the studio's right next to the distillery. It'll be from like 8 to 10 at the studio, be a private kind of hangout. And it's free. You don't have to buy tickets. If you need a ride to and from the airport, we're trying to coordinate that with people who are renting cars versus aren't. I'll shuttle some people to and from within reason. But if money's an issue because you make that first responder money and you're not renting a car, that's okay. We can find somebody else that is renting a car or myself to come and grab you. So also everybody is staying in the Comfort Inn and Suites, I believe, in Clayton, North Carolina. The majority of people are. So it's the closest one walking distance. It's a nice, safe place to stay if you want to stay there. So also I can put all that out there because there's going to be a lot of first responders that come on that date, and everybody will be armed. So if that's the time that you're thinking about fucking around, I don't think it would behoove you, because I've already hired private covert security for the entire event. So if you do fuck around, you will find out very quickly. So I'm not afraid to say where everybody's staying and doing. This is not the place. This isn't going to be a soft target for you. So
after the show, it's the after party, and after the party, it's probably going to be the hotel lobby. That's according to Susan B. Empathy.
Sarah Kelch says, "Well, I trim to Missouri and give her a ride." Yeah, I mean, I feel like if that happened, it would be like a very Petito type incident, like Gabby Petito type thing. I don't know what happened to Sarah. I lost her somewhere.
In a national park.
She did not come home with me. She is somewhere in a national park. Good luck, guys. And Andrea Uplate, being the true crime specialist, she'll help me hide the body. So she's really good at those kind of things. I've heard. Andrea Uplate says she'll bring a teeny tiny pocket knife. Nobody's going after the grandmother. You know what I mean? Like, nobody fucking murders the grandmother in these incidents. Tansey, can we pick an episode about your special forces time, please? Yeah, I mean, I guess we could. I know it doesn't really have anything to do with true crime. Doesn't have anything to do with this, but I think I might have kind of digested a lot of that in other episodes. I feel like I've visited a few times. I know I've talked about it on other people's podcasts a lot. So if you want that story, it's out there. It just doesn't have anything to do with police breakdowns. No, it's not really that overtly an exciting story either. It's probably more depressing than anything. I am from Florida. Yes, I am from Florida. So I have a lot of Casey Anthony, Brian Laundrie traits about me. James Melanese, does Ghostbed make mattresses that fit in tractor trailers? It's a good question, James. I don't know. But I bet you that they make that's a great question. But I know that they make the bed topper, and the bed topper is like super flexible. And I know they make the Ghostbed pillow, which is phenomenal as well. I don't travel anywhere. Tactical Dude says third group, right? No, it would have been 20th group is who I served with. Serve group. And no, I was not a Green Beret. I did go through the Green Beret training in the schools, but I did not graduate with my Green Beret. And the story behind that is, very quickly, got in trouble in language school, not because of something I did, but the guys that I was living with. And everybody got caught up in an investigation, which pulled me out of training. And when I went back to the unit, I just got to do unit stuff without ever going back and finishing up my language school. And when it came time to go back, I didn't have an updated physical, but I did have an updated physical, but they didn't have the records of the updated physical. So they sent me back and sent me to a couple other schools. And then between a couple of other TDYs and things like that, and after two rotations that I'd already done in Afghanistan while being attached to group, I just didn't, I felt like instead of waiting on getting a Green Beret, I'd like to get out. So I got out of the military, but that's it in short. But that's where I met Andrea Uplate's ex-husband, who was also a Green Beret at the time. And that's where Andrea and I, that's how Andrea and I know each other for like the last 17, 18 years, however long it's been. I'd just like to adjust these chats at the very end of the show. So if you're still hanging around, 20th group is cool because it's reserve SF unit. Yes, it's a reserve SF unit. The one I served in was in Florida. But they also do a lot of stuff. Most of them are not reservists. Most of them are active full time. There's a DEA task force that 20th group directly works with. There's also cave dive search and rescue that 20th group works very close to. Yada, yada, yada. They found out about our love affair and fired him. Oh, are you talking about me, Andrea? Never had a love affair with you. I've actually hated you since the first time I met you. Dead Like Me says, Ghostbed has a small as twin beds that I can see on their website. Give them a call and ask. Sunshine and Beaches, Florida. Got to here's Drew's time in the military too. Yeah, she'll go over that. We could probably talk about a little bit of that at the meetup in April. So if you really want to get the inside scoop of everybody's life story, we are going to do a live production for you guys. It won't be broadcasted, but it'll be at the studio. We'll be on the stage. It'll be a question and answer type forum, I believe. We'll all be on stools on the stage at the studio afterwards, and you guys are going to be able to ask us any kind of questions that you want. Of course, this will not be a podcast, I don't believe, at this time. So we can. Andrea says, yes, you've always loved me. Stop resisting.
Jonathan,
my actions, my words say no, but my actions say yes. Is that what you're saying?
Jonathan is going to grace us with his rendition of Wind Beneath My Wings. He's already promised that.
Come up this way. You guys are in Pennsylvania. We will do some meetups further north too. I think we're going to try to do a meetup at some point around Nashville, Tennessee. Just because Nashville is a lot of fun and it's central to a lot of you guys. So a lot of the folks from Kentucky can get up there pretty quickly and easily. So a lot of people over there from Missouri, Arkansas, all those things a little bit closer than coming all the way over here to the East Coast. So I don't know how much further we'll venture out than Nashville. But this year at least, I know for sure we'll probably, I would say within 90%, we'll probably do a live meeting in Nashville and we'll do another live meetup in Florida somewhere. I can tell you that's probably 90% going to happen this year. Don't know when. I'll be in DC the week after for unrelated tasks. I don't know what that means, but, any Hoosers, if you guys want to come up here and see us, this would be a great time. The hotel's pretty cheap. And stuff in town, you're not going to have to really rent a car. You guys are close enough that you'll really be able to walk to and from, and there'll be enough people that can shuttle around. I have a minivan and a truck that fits a bunch of people, so we'll be filling around. But anyway, that's been another live show brought to you by ghostbed.com and Manscaped. As for Drew Breasy, Easy Breezy, and myself, Susan B. Empathy. Until next time, guys, guns up. Giddy up.